How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to the channel, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Today we are going to change it up a little bit and do a reaction on United Kingdom versus America. Um, Today's video is by Lost in the Pond. I've heard a lot of good stuff about him. I've never watched any of his videos, so I'm excited. And it is called 5 Ways British and America Stores Are Different. So let's go ahead and check it out.
That was a joke,
Oh,
wordplay. Hello, isn't this?
I didn't watch
So
that.
next time you're in the.
I was checking my sound, and hopefully it sounds okay. If it doesn't, somebody let me know, please.
So next time you're in the other country, why not play a game of, oh look, it's that thing we have back home, but they call it something wildly different. Isn't this fun? Hello, I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to grocery stores, or should I say, supermarkets, because that's what we call them in the UK. Weirdly, I've been doing this channel now for about nearly 5 years, and I don't think I've really ever touched on the major differences between grocery stores and supermarkets. That is probably because the nauseating experience of walking around said stores is second only to malls.
And before we begin, I will just throw out my thoughts. And my only question really is, does the United Kingdom have pickles? And I'm going to need to know that because every single time my friend comes back to the States from there, he will like go back home with a crap ton of pickles, and that has to weigh a whole lot because it comes in jars as well. So I couldn't imagine, but they must not have. I mean, how would you not? I mean, we wouldn't have carrots if it wasn't for. Well, that's Netherlands, but still, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much
Be
into it.
honest with you, we get our shopping delivered. Haven't had to walk into a grocery store in about 3 years. But I did do some research, so it's fine. And so without further ado, let's take a look at 5 big ways that British and American grocery stores slash supermarkets are so very, very different.
He's very, very serious.
Yes, layout. As you can probably imagine, the layout of American grocery stores tends to be slightly different to that of Britain, but that makes sense. I mean, the United States itself is laid out quite differently to Britain. I don't just mean it's a different shape, I mean it incorporates different shapes. I did a video on this. Basically, America is obsessed with rectangles. Anyway, that's not connected to today's video. I think
Rectangles. Why? Is that like the food pyramid? That went way over my head. I don't know.
this difference might have changed a little bit in recent years. For instance, it's a common practice in both countries now to put the fresh veg right near the entrance section to give this illusion of health as you walk in, and then you walk over to the chocolate and everything falls apart. But other than that, as you're walking around the stores in both countries, you will see the odd difference, sometimes very odd difference. So for instance, in some British grocery stores slash supermarkets, you might find the eggs not in the dairy section. What's that all about? And since I've moved to America, that seems to make sense, right? It's with the cheese, it's with the milk, the whipped cream, and sort of genre-wise, that does make sense. But sometimes you will find things like eggs just hanging around with the beans in England and not refrigerated either. That's a shocking thing for a lot of Americans when they see that. The wine
Yeah.
section might be found in a different spot to where you'd find it in US grocery stores across both.
I mean, as long as you don't wash the eggs and it still has that, I mean, that's not even going through the process of whatever they go through to do the. I don't even know. I've never done it, but
Countries though, it's always going to differ, especially depending on the actual store itself, so keep an eye out for that. And kind of connected to layout is our next entry. I've said it before and I'll say it again, size is not everything, though you probably wouldn't believe that if you saw the difference between UK supermarkets and American grocery stores. I used to think as a kid that whenever my mum would drag me around Asda, which is one of our major supermarkets, that particular supermarket was absolutely huge. And then I moved to America and I was equally dragged around Walmart. And in recent years, the comparison between the two has become quite apt, and that is because Walmart owns Asda. But the fact remains that Asda, most of them anyway, are not located within their own zip code, postcode. Whereas Walmart, it might as well have its own zip code. They're absolutely huge. They're so large, in fact, that just walking around the perimeter is enough for your weekly exercise, which I
Yeah, so Walmart did not work out in Germany, but they don't have one in UK. That's what I'm understanding, unless I missed something.
Which is good considering all of the calories that you're about to buy. And because Walmart and to a lesser extent Kroger are absolutely massive, that means you have the following. In the United Kingdom, nationwide, you've got the likes of Sainsbury's, Tesco, Morrison's, Asda. So we have choice in that regard, but once you get inside the stores, we probably don't have quite as much to offer as the United States, who, for instance, provide you with about 27 varieties of Coca-Cola. I haven't tried them all, in fact, I've barely tried any of them, but the rule seems to be that the brighter the packaging, the more varieties there'll be, and also the brighter the packaging, the least healthy it'll be. So to
Yeah,
reiterate, American aisles have more variety than British aisles.
maybe not so much now because they are looking pretty bare with I don't know what shortages they are like dealing with the most, but yeah, they're bare.
That was a joke, wordplay.
And it makes us have to buy from that said company. So like the Walmart brand because that's all they're carrying right now or, whatever.
British Isles, you got it. We're good. Walmart has such variety, you can even buy auto parts. They're usually at the back of the store, which is not the best place between you and me, because what if you're buying a big hefty tire? How are you going to get that out?
Yeah, there's some places when they have that, they will have like a whole shop where you could get your oil changed and all that. That's like a super Walmart.
Could roll it, that's true. In fact, that sounds amazing. I might do that next time I'm in Walmart. I've just remembered I'm never going back in a Walmart, so we're good. And I don't drive. And speaking of purchases, once you get to the till/cash register, there's another chief difference between our two countries. I have to admit, this one got me long before I moved to the United States when I was visiting the state of Maine in 2004. I walked into a music shop, as you do. I much prefer music shops to supermarkets anyway. And I purchased a ukulele. I think I talked about this very recently. And in doing so, of course, I looked at the price. $15, which is cheap. Don't ever do that again. It was good while it lasted, but it didn't last very long. So I took it to the counter expecting to pay exactly that in three $5 bills, only to be told, $17.32. I'm making that number up in hindsight. I didn't really get where that additional $2 came from. And it turns out that sales tax is applied at the point of sale, whereas in the United Kingdom, what you see on the price tag in the aisle itself is exactly what you'll pay for that item, so there's no surprises when you get to the till. I should say that, I think in England, even when I'd go grocery shopping, I didn't calculate in my head each item as I went along, so I never really had a great idea about what that total was going to be anyway. It's usually when you're just purchasing single items this problem first arises. But anybody that's visiting America from the UK who usually doesn't give a second thought to VAT, you will have to give thought to sales tax, which is kind of the equivalent here of VAT. And like I said,
So what like most people I think do is just round up. So if it's like 12.95, we'll round up to 13. If it's like 12.50, either round up or down depending on, what you've done to the other numbers. If that makes any sense, but usually works out pretty close.
that sales tax is not applied to the whole store before you even go in. You'll see it applied to your receipt after the fact. It's not a huge deal. I got used to it, after a couple of years. One thing I'm still getting used to, though, is our final entry. Yes, brand differences, and I'm not talking about, this particular brand that you simply can't get an equivalent of in the UK. No, I'm talking about the exact same object, or typically food item, that has the same font and everything and look about it, but a completely different name. Take, for instance, Axe versus Lynx. They're deodorants, don't eat them. I'm not suggesting these.
Okay, I'm just gonna have to say, Charlie has got me really good at like looking at the back and reading like what's in it because sometimes it's the same thing. Like there could be a paper towel company that they sell to Walmart uh and to other grocery stores per se. They can buy that toilet paper and brand it their brand. So you could be buying the same kind of toilet paper at Dollar General as you would Walmart. My cat's going crazy back there.
These are all food items, but if you are a 14-year-old boy, you know what Axe deodorant is, or Lynx. They are exactly the same thing. They both have an X in it, much like an inordinate amount of brand differences, actually. You've got TJ Maxx versus TK Maxx. You've got ExxonMobil versus Esso. You've got Dove versus Galaxy. Alexa, what are they going to change your name to? I don't have Alexa. That was just a joke. But if you're from the US and you go over to the UK and you're walking around the shopping aisles and you're looking out for crisps / potato chips and you see one that looks a little bit like Lay's, you know, Lay's, the American crisp company, it'll be called Walker's, but it has the exact same font. Everything else about it is the same, except for some of the flavors, bear that in mind. And some of the chocolate seems to live in an entirely different universe. Literally, in some cases, like I said before, the British Galaxy bar is Dove in America.
That looks identical. That looks identical. Wow.
Milky Way is Three Musketeers, and Mars is Milky Way. It's all one star cluster of monumental differences, and of course there are absolutely loads. So next time you're in the other country, why not play a game of, oh look, it's that thing we have back home, but they call it something wildly different. Isn't this fun? You know, you might get bored after a while, but send me your pictures. It will be amazing. That's it for this episode. Let me know in the comments below some of the observations you've made over the differences between a British supermarket and an American grocery store. In the meantime, if you haven't had the chance to do so, please subscribe to my channel so that my videos don't get lost in the pond. And a big
subscribe to his channel. Everybody loves him, and I hear a lot of good stuff about him. But I will add to this list because I know for a fact when my friend that lives in the UK came down to visit, he just bought the vodka that we have here, and he ended up drinking just like he normally would. But he woke up and he's like, I don't know what's in that vodka, but it is like he had the worst hangover of his entire life. And I felt so bad because for like 3 days straight he was just like sick when he was like here wanting to see like family and go visit friends and stuff, and he was like sick for a good chunk of it. So that was pretty funny. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe to him. And if you want to see more content like this, go ahead and subscribe to me too. And also, just so you guys know, I do have a Discord. If you guys want to look it up, I will put the link down in the description. But yeah, Charlie and I share one, and it has pages where you can suggest videos or if all sorts of stuff. So you just got to go check it out. And thank you so much for watching, and have a really good day. Bye.